This is the President McCormack Podcast with your host, Mark McCormack.
Today on the podcast, the one and only Michael Alisa.
Hardly.
Thanks for coming on, my friend.
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me.
So This is super fun, man. I think everyone would vote you as the best looking guy on the podcast so far.
Man, what an honor.
Do you like when people tease you with that?
I mean, I just laugh. I mean, I'm used to it, but I didn't know it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
It's usually just friends joke about that.
Yeah. No, I think it was, was it Eric Ney said something the other day. It must have been when we all went to the pool. But he's like, oh yeah, it was, because he's like, yeah, Michael's coming. And I was like, oh, dope, dude, it'll be cool. He's like, yeah, dude, he'll up our friend status like 6 points or something like that. I'm like, yeah.
It was so funny is I like when I'm amongst you guys, I feel like I'm just a small fry.
Do you really?
Yeah, just because you guys. Not that I think lowly of myself, but I just think you guys are all just amazing dudes.
Yeah.
Who just crush at life and have things together in my eyes. I know that we all have our personal lives and we're all still learning and figuring things out, but you guys have all done awesome things in your lives. So I look at all you guys with just so much admiration and love. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, that's cool, dude. Well, as long as you feel you're part of it, that's fine.
Yeah. No, I feel like just one of the bros. Like when I'm with you guys, it's not like I feel like I don't belong here.
Yeah.
And no one's ever made me feel like that, and that's why that heightens my admiration, because great men in my eyes who also it's not about status and money and wealth. It's just about like how well can we connect.
Yeah.
And do we love each other? Yes, we do. Okay. Yeah.
Kind of well we treat each other.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the biggest badass in the group is freaking Eric Ney. It's not even close.
Eric.
I'm telling you, dude,
Eric's bad.
He's legit.
You're a badass. Nicholas Howland's a badass. Eric's a badass. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's one alpha. It's Eric. No, it's funny with me because people in the construction world, like Eric's a big deal.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like hunting. If we needed to survive and it was the apocalypse, Eric, save us. Can you get us some food, please?
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. Yeah, he's
but construction out. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He's his job, big dog. Dude, what he's been able to do in short years. Are you close to his age? Because what's he like? 36?
Yeah,
37.
Yeah, I think he's just a few years older than me. Yeah.
How old are you?
33.
Damn,
I know I look older.
Damn, you're young. You don't look young.
Have you seen the jokes on my TikTok? Yeah, it's
about you being old.
Yeah, it's an ongoing debate. No one believes that I'm actually 33.
Oh, I like that. We should start telling everyone you're like 24.
You just
or tell them you're 60.
Stoke the fire even more. Yeah. Tell them 60. That would get more like, wow, 60-year-old.
Well, you know Brett Engelman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he married. What is he? Brett's probably 44. 45.
I saw them pop up. Yeah, and he married this young girl.
Yeah, he married Demi. She's probably, I don't even know how old she is. 26, 27, 25. I don't know, somewhere in there. She got a little baby.
Yeah.
But they do this whole thing on TikTok where they pretend that he's like 55 and she's like 21 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And like gets people all freaking flustered and shit. Like,
I've seen some of that.
Robbing the grave bastard and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't know, it's funny, man, because really, social media, you're better than me. You just got to get people talking and really jiving and stuff. Right?
Yeah. Even if I was talking to Dakota about this outside, they misspelled a word on one of Jimmy's posts.
Yeah.
And they got so much traction just because people were correcting the misspelled word, and they blew up the videos. Like any type of traction.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing I noticed that was like, it was crazy to me because it actually got me. Right, it's when they advertise for those video games. Right, you see those stupid advertisements all the time.
Yes.
And they do it wrong.
Yes.
You're like, dude, how stupid are you? And you really go to download the game to like play it properly.
Yeah, just to show them. Yeah.
It's got me like 5 times. Like seriously, like drives me crazy. And I'm like, download this game on a plane and I'll be like, I am so stupid. Like
that's so funny. That's so human because I've had the exact same reaction with those games. It's hilarious.
Like, this game sucks. Why am I doing this? Yeah, dude.
I love hearing that because you're one of us. You're one of us.
Yeah. We're all just people. We all put our pants on every day. Yeah. That's one of the things too that in my career that's been interesting is, I know, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 billionaires,
Mm-hmm.
And when you really get to know those guys, like they're kind of just like us. You know what I mean? Like us, it's kind of like celebrities pumping their own gas, right? Like we're all acting like we're all normal, but they have like marriages and kids and shit they're trying to juggle, and just like, they just were really wildly successful in one aspect of their lives at one point. And my one friend in Texas, I think I'm quoting it right. His family controls like 40% of all the natural gas, right? So he's like wildly rich, right? Like unbelievable. He drives a beat up old freaking, he beats the hell out of his brand new trucks. It's a better way to put it, right? Then as soon as he's done with it, he'll just get a new one, right?
Yeah.
First time I met him, he like pulls his tarp in the back of his truck, like whips it off. There's like all these guns back there. And I'm just like, what the hell? And it's just because he lives on a ranch, right? He's just like, I live in this ranch, shoot guns, pew, 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 all the time. Just like, and he's just, dude, he likes going to Whataburger, right? And he likes hunting and just doing the shit that he does. And he was fun, man. He's a funny guy. He was giving me a hard time because he's got that really thick Texas accent, right? Oh. And he's like, you ever been to Whataburger? And I was just like, it's like maybe my second time in Texas, right? I'm like, I don't know what he's saying. I have no idea. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what that is. And he's just like, you don't know what Whataburger is? He starts going crazy about Whataburger. And I'm literally sitting there. He goes, you know HEB? And I'm like, no.
I've never been to either
HEB
of those.
is like the Harmons of Texas. It's this massive grocery store. A little higher end, very nice. People getting their sampling, just very well put together. But it's HEB, three letters. Anyways, the more this conversation goes on, I'm just like, I'm sorry, man. He's like, oh, you're like a city boy, just going crazy on me. And then he goes, yeah, I put basically all my beef goes into HEB and goes into Whataburger.
Oh, dang.
And I'm like, oh, you have like tons of cattle. And it's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of head of cattle.
Was that inherited? Is that like a family ranch that was passed down?
Yeah, at some level, probably. I don't actually know that whole story. I would imagine, though, because it's really hard to control that much land without having being passed down to you.
What are some things you've seen with all these billionaires, like attributes, qualities that they all possess that has led to their success? Or is something that sets them apart? Yes, we all put our pants on same way, but...
They're relentless. I mean, they're really, really relentless on certain things. Super organized, super confident. And I actually kind of feel like that's the one quality I match with them a little bit. I'm just confident just because I'm happy with myself. You know what I mean? Like when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, I like what I see. Yeah. No matter what flaws I have or if I've gained 20 pounds or lost 20 pounds, I'm just kind of like, like I'm a good dude. Let's go out in this world and do what I need to do today.
Yeah. Do you feel like you always had that? Was that kind of
you have to develop it?
Yeah, developed as you.
I've developed it early. I mean, a little bit of it probably came from football. Like I started as a sophomore, and that was a cool experience. I had all these seniors that I thought were just like monsters. I was probably, I don't know, 6'2", maybe 6'1" as a sophomore, and I probably weighed 180 pounds. Yeah. And so, but I actually started on our line. I played center, and I got my ass kicked. Right. Yeah. But by the time I was a junior, I was about 6'5", 250. And then in my senior year, I was 6'7", 265. So for in high school, it's a big boy.
That is big. Yep. So I relate to that because sports gave me a lot of confidence as well. And then going into college, I was doing really, really well. And I was doing better than my trajectory was in high school. So it was like this steep upward slope where high school I was good, college I got really good. Yeah. And I was starting to get attention from these NFL scouts, and I'm thinking in my mind like, wow, my dreams are all coming true right now. Everything that I had visualized and just fantasized about of being in front of crowds and scoring touchdowns, it's happening. Yeah. And I'm going to go to the league. And so when that didn't happen, I started getting injured. My dreams I was devastated. Yeah. And that shot my confidence because I put so much into this one thing in my life and became such a big part of my identity. Had I gone to the NFL, I think I would have been a completely different person, not experiencing that depression, that low of not achieving everything that I work for. Yeah. And so coming out of football, going to my professional careers, we were talking about this outside. I jumped in a bunch of different things, and nothing quite hit. Like I was making decent money for a single dude, and living this like party lifestyle, like the rock star lifestyle. I was hanging around with some rich dudes that like to have a good time, just drinking buddies, really. But it was kind of something that I was using to fill that void of like, I'm not as great as I thought I was. And so I needed to like fill everything with, this music video style life.
Yeah.
And inside I was just empty, and I wasn't doing things that were putting confidence under my belt, like what you were talking about, football, and then you did your businesses and just started to build that confidence up. Yeah. My confidence was like slowly just leaking out the bottom when I was projecting that I was doing just awesome.
Yeah.
And that all came to an end when I finally reached this point where I was like, dude, I'm so miserable right now. And the reality is I have nothing like solid that I feel like this is what I can do. And it took just getting real with myself, looking in the mirror, crying, like just being like, I don't even know who I am right now. And I've been so fake to everybody for so long. And now in my life, I feel like because I went back to where I'm actually at and started to build from there. Now, like since we've met, you've met me while I've been kind of building that up. Yeah. Just being real with myself and with people that I meet.
I like that, dude. Yeah. That's the moment everyone has to have too, right? I think that I had that moment earlier on in my life. It was exactly what you're saying. I think
wonder if you have to. Yeah, you have to go through that.
You do. And one of the principles, I've said this, I'll tell you a funny story, then we'll kind of go back a little more serious. But, you cannot experience true happiness unless you experience some pain, right? Now, you can watch other people have some pain and realize, I don't want to do that, right? That's wise, right? But like you do, you need to, because you don't know. If everything's always good, it's just neutral. Mm-hmm. Right. There's no real ups and downs, but when you have bad and good, and you actually realize the difference between both of them, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to kind of lean a little bit more good. Right.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the funny story. So we were like, I played softball on this team. Right. And like, they're all ballers, right? They all, hit home runs all the time and all this shit, Funny part with me is when I walked up to bat, like dudes are like backing up against the wall, and I would just tink the thing over the top.
That's me when I go play with my buddies softball. Yeah,
it's like not even a full swing. I just got to get it out there, right, and trot on down to first, And we were playing like this champion. I think it was a championship game, or maybe it was like going up to the championship, right? And I played catcher, so I just talk shit to like every dude that stepped up, right? I'm like, hey, dude, your ears are weird. Anyways, good luck good luck. And guys would be like, what the hell?
That was so intimidating because, I'm not going to fight you. Like,
Oh, yeah. No one's ever
like, ears look weird. Thank you, sir.
So in that same vein, right? So we were playing this game, and you get those pitchers, right? They're like fake it. Then they like do something funky with the ball, then they throw it, and it's just like, oh my God, dude, just pitch this damn thing, right? Like none of us are going to the league. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm going to kill you. So there was this guy, and he would always do that. He drove me crazy. I go sit in the freaking dugout, right? And I'm just like, no one ever strikes out. It's freaking softball, right? You're just waiting for the pitch that comes. I'm sitting in the dugout. I'm like, I freaking hate this dude. You know what I mean? I'm telling these guys, I'm like, I freaking hate that guy, pointing to him. Anyways, and he was a good player, right? Yeah. And dude, so I'm playing catcher. He hits the ball, right? And they're trying to get the ball into me, and they literally just they throw it like in between the third baseman and me. It's like, what the hell, right? So I go running over to grab the ball. He's on third base by now. He looks at me, I look at him, and he just takes off for home plate. And I was like, oh, hell no, dude. So I go like running towards him because I'm like, oh, I'm going to tag him, right? Because I'm actually pretty quick.
Yeah.
And he's kind of looking at me and I'm looking at him. So he goes to slide, right? And I went to hit him in the shoulder, right? Because I don't like to bend over, hurts my back. And I ended up hitting him in the back of the head. And as I go to tag him, I just bang his face into the ground as he's sliding. And it literally, dude, for like probably 18 inches. I just buried his face in the dirt.
Burned.
He was like 2 feet away from the freaking home plate. They gave him the run, right? Why? He gets up, dude. He's like moaning, dude.
Like a sympathy score?
Up. Yeah, it was like a sympathy score. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I felt good about it. I was like, I hate this freaking asshole. I buried his face. He gets up, he's trying to fist fight me, trying to fight me, right? I'm just standing there, and he's just like, you're lucky my cousins are here, like doing this whole damn thing.
Oh
right?
My gosh.
I'm like, yeah, I guess so. But that like kind of defines like how I play softball, right? It's like I need like something to like get me competitive enough to like actually chase your ass down and tag you.
Yeah.
But in one of these games, like we get to, kind of going back to my point, we're like high-fiving this team we just beat, right? And I just go, hey guys, don't worry, man. You can't experience the good if you don't have the bad. And I'm just like giving them all a high five, right? And my team's just like, and they're all small guys, right? They're all softball players. They're all freaking, I don't know, 5'8". Yeah. They're like, dude, you're gonna get us in a fight. And I'm like, no one's fighting us, dude. Trust me. Not one dude in here is gonna come over here and start a fight with us. But like, I always think about that, dude. When you like think like you really do. You can't experience the good without the bad. Mm-hmm. And it's good for people to like have that moment where they're just honest with themselves in the mirror, right? And you just go, what do we want? You know, talking to me. Yeah. What do we want? What are we really going to do? Like, what am I good at? What do I want to spend my life doing? You know, do I want to get married? Do I not want to get married? Do I want to have kids? Do I want to have more kids? You know, I mean, there's all these things to answer. And until you have that moment of you actually talking to yourself, and yeah, you do. You get a little lost.
Yeah, if you don't have that moment, you don't get any fire. Yeah, is what I realized and what I learned. By numbing, I was keeping myself cold. Yeah. I wasn't getting the drive that I wanted and needed to get out and start doing stuff again. Yeah. What you said about playing sports, like you need some competition. I thrive on competition, disrespect, and failure. Yeah. And so although that failure hurt so bad, I was prolonging coming to grips with that. I was prolonging the bounce back by numbing. When you really sit down, look in the mirror and like, I failed. Yeah. And this is what it is. Here's where I'm at right now. Now what? What are you going to do? Did
you feel like you failed because you didn't make it to the league?
I did. Yeah.
Why?
Because up until that point, everything I had set my mind to, it happened. And I was like, oh, this is how it works. This is how life works. You visualize and you work for it and you achieve it. It was just like they say in the books, just like you see in the movies. Yeah. And so to me, it just felt like I had life figured out, and I already knew like where I was going. And when that chain broke, I was like, oh, something went wrong, and I messed up. I failed. Yeah. And I didn't know how to start doing that again, because my confidence in that, because I still believe that that's true. Yes, you visualize something. If you can really fantasize something and see it happening, not just have a dream, but like really see it happening and work for it, and obsessed with it, then yeah, you can make it happen. But I stopped believing that after I didn't make it to the league, because I was just so shattered.
I know with some of my football friends, you know, they've gone through that, you know, a lot of them, even the guys that make it in the league though, right? I mean, some of these guys go, you know, a 7-year career is a damn good career in the NFL. Right?
Absolutely.
And when these guys, even when they leave the league, right, it's like, crap, what do I do now? Who am I? Like, you know, and it's like, yeah, this is your moment, man. You gotta figure that out. You know, and it's not like, I mean, I don't wake up every single morning and just like, I've got every single thing figured out.
Kick ass, take names.
Yeah. But I do know who I am. Yeah. That is the one thing, you know, like I very rarely question like me as a person, you know, and I think
I like that a lot, because I think that's where it starts. That's where, for me, I had to go back to, because I didn't like me as a person. I think because my identity was so closely attached to this goal, didn't get it. Me as a person was no longer good enough in my mind. Yeah. And I never came to terms with that for years. It took me until it was like 2019 when I finally hit rock bottom and had to look at myself as a person and learn to love myself again. Yeah. And then that's where I started building up just like my confidence and being real with people. My relationships, all my relationships started flourishing again and started getting healthier. And it all starts with yourself. Yeah, that's so spot on. Yeah. Love that.
What was the moment where you realized that you are an amazing person?
Moment. I don't know if there was a single moment, but in 2019, I hit rock bottom. I was super depressed, and that was when I had my first suicidal thought, and it scared the shit out of me, because I guess in my mind I always thought I was the man. Yeah. Growing up with football, I was like, yeah, like I got so much going for me, and I started having these depressive thoughts, and was shocked by them. I was like, well, that's weird, and I just, instead of addressing it and being like, why am I feeling this way, I just push it down. I would drink, you know, women, whatever it was to escape those feelings. I was doing it. And I actually got a life coach, kind of, and I was challenged to go without any of these substances or things and any of the tools that I was using to escape, go without those for 100 days. That was a challenge. Nice. And I did that, and it was so hard. And I had this full breakdown one day in my bathroom. I was literally looking in the mirror, leaning over the sink.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the start of learning to be okay with who I am and start to go from there. And then from that moment, I went and talked to every one of my family members and told them exactly who I am, just so I could feel seen by them and still know that they loved me.
Yeah.
That was important for me. And then that really helped me start to love myself again and feel confident in who I am and look in the mirror and be okay.
Yeah.
So, but it started with being honest. I guess that's where it is. Being honest with myself.
Yeah. That was a moment. Yeah. Yeah. And then a little secret out there, you're gonna have to do it a couple more times before we leave this earth, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, life is, you know, I aspired to be an NFL player, right? You know, high school's as far as I got, right? And then I broke my back. And I remember my doctor coming in and he just going, hey, you know, your football's done. Like, don't ever play again. And his son was Matt Berry. He was a quarterback at BYU at the time.
Okay.
And I was kind of compliant back then, you know. I was like halfway through my mission. So I was like, oh, okay. If that's what I'm not supposed to do, I'll just do that, you know. And, you know, it was, I don't know, it's weird. Like people talk about like passion at their job, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know if I have like passion for my job. You know, I have like, and I have a really good business life right now, you know. People that know me, you know, I have a lot of freedom. I can kind of do what I want. But, you know, like one of my businesses is like selling whiteboards, right? Like I don't have a passion every morning to like give people whiteboards. I don't even have a passion to give the NBA courts. You know what I mean? Yeah. People might find that crazy. Like, oh, that's an amazing job. And I'm like, yeah, but it's just like what you guys don't realize is it's a lot of like just normal manufacturing and purchasing things and dealing with customers and yeah, sure. Like it's kind of fun when I'm in like a bar with my buddies and I'm like, yeah, there's a floor we did. Like I've walked on that floor.
That is cool.
And people are like, oh, that's amazing. You know, blah, blah, blah. And right now we're trying to work on, and you know, who knows if I should say this or not, but we'll say it anyways, right? But like we're working on an exclusive deal with the NBA so that we can become their exclusive provider, right?
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's fun.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
But for me, honestly, dude, like this is like a 2-year burn. Right. So we've been working on this forever and we've bought into companies and we've done all this kind of thing to like strategically put ourselves in the best position to strike. And right now is the best position to strike. And we might not become the exclusive one, but we'll become, you know, an approved manufacturer of our own brand. You know, that's pretty much a slam dunk at this point. And all these people were talking to me, right? What's on your mind? You know, Mark, what are you working on? You know, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, this is what I'm working on. And I kind of tell people and they're like, they kind of have the same thing, right? They're like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, yeah, it's only going to be cool the second that contract is signed. And it's going to be really fun for that night. And then the next day we're just back to work again. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of, I don't know, kind of standard.
Does the game of it intrigue you of a business of just like
that's my favorite
getting
part.
Wins? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. That's fun.
That's my favorite. Yeah. I love the strategy. I love how do we do this? Who do we need to play with? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I just agreed yesterday in principle. So by the time this episode airs, I just bought half of a company that does merchandising for the NBA, right? They're called Artsman. And so, but that's part of our strategy because they work with NBA Labs and NBA Labs is a subsidiary of the NBA and the NBA does all the creative through NBA Labs. And so the people that are inside that company are actually the ones that make all the decisions for like jerseys and merchandising and like all sorts of stuff, like probably even TV rights. I don't really know everything NBA Labs does, but it's all kind of inside that world. Because when people look at it, like working with the NBA, it's interesting because it's this very notable brand, right? More than anything. But then when you really get into the backside of it, it's just another business, right? So you're just meeting people. They have to like you. You have to like them. You have to like get that synergy going, and like the competency level has to be there, and the honesty has to be there, and then you kind of just like work these deals, right? They take a long time. Doing a big deal like this takes a long time.
I don't even know where to start.
I don't even know where I started. I just fell in
to their courts.
Well, so we've been doing courts. Well, I started a company with a partner, and he's been doing NBA courts forever, and so that's kind of how I got into it. Okay. And then we just kept on growing our presence and doing better and better, not deals, but better and better service for some of our clients. And so we handled 9 courts in the NBA right now, and 9 teams of the NBA, and
wow.
I bet by the end of the year we'll probably have at least half of them, probably up to 15. And then if we do the exclusive deal, we'll have them all, but that leads into like FIBA in Europe. And yeah, it's cool. I mean, when I really map this all out, it's funny as I'm like saying this, I'm like, this is actually cool. But like
so
when I go to work every day,
I'm my jaw's on the floor. I'm just like, what? Like I knew that's what you did for business, but just hearing it, that's so sick.
Honestly, it's like 10% of what I do too, right? It's only like one business out of all the other crap that I do. And like, I don't know. I just feel like when I go to work, I'm just like, there's just like action items I just do every day, right? I got to get these action items done, and boom, we go to the next thing, and boom, then we're into the strategy session, boom, into something else, boom, and just got to keep moving.
That's another quality of people who are very successful. I feel like they're very good at getting at action, at doing, moving,
and decision making, right?
Yeah.
Like I realized years and years ago. So I took over my parents' company and as the president in 2007. So I was like 26 back then.
Wow.
And it's right when I graduated college.
This is your parents' company?
Yeah, so this is the athletic equipment side of the business, right? So I have a flooring company, it's just totally separate. Then I have athletic equipment. So we do like hoops and bleachers and volleyball and gym divider curtains. And that's really how I got into this world. He hired me at like 8 years old.
Online? Is there a brick and mortar store?
It's all brick and mortar. We don't do anything online.
Wow.
Yeah, we do like the recreation centers. We do high schools, universities, professional teams. We don't really, like I'll sell you a hoop if you want one, but like really I don't really do residential. We do very high-end residential. So if someone's building a court inside their house, like we'll do those.
That's you guys. Yeah.
So, like Pray to Homes type stuff, and, really high-end stuff. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of been in that world my whole life. But I realized early on, it's like, I don't have time to have a damn counsel on every decision that needs to be made, right? Some decisions just have to be made. And then if you're wrong in 3 weeks and you pivot and go back to the right thing, right? Even if it costs money, it's like, you just got to be quick.
I like that.
And move along. So like my guys, I've taught them years ago and they're pretty good at this, right? Like when you have employees, they want to come up to you and like get you to sign off on everything, right? Half the time they just want to talk to you because they like you, right? And the other half, they're like covering their ass, right? And then there's a couple things in between, but really it's like pretty much why, right? So I used to like get with guys and be like, listen to me, come in here. I like you a lot. If you want to talk to me, just come and tell me something that's going on in your life. Don't come in here to bring me something just to talk to me. And they're like, okay,
Yeah.
And then I'm like, there's only one decision to be made. You're either going to make the most amount of money for the company or you're going to save the most amount of money for the company, right? So meaning if we bid something and this customer's asking for stuff outside the contract, but they do $3 million of business with us and it's a $3,000 item, give it to them and move on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if this guy's done $10,000 worth of business with us, we basically don't treat every customer the same, right? If they've only done $10,000 and they want $5,000 of concessions on something, it's like, no, that's a change order. Yeah. And I don't give a shit how mad they get. You know what I mean? It's just one of those two decisions. And so really, just like everything boils down to that. It's like, we're going to try and make the most amount of money or lose the least amount of money. It's just, and then if I ever see a decision I don't like of yours, let's talk about it. But I mean, I've had guys cost me $120,000 in one decision before. And like, I was pissed, but like, I didn't fire them over it.
How do you handle that?
Honestly, when that happened, it blew up one morning. It was because he didn't do something I asked him to do, right? He was supposed to get a change order for something. And then he didn't do it. A couple months later, they changed superintendents on this job. And then they backcharge us for this thing that this other superintendent had agreed to the tune of $120,000. And
it wasn't in the contract.
Wasn't
because this guy.
No, it wasn't. And so he comes in and brings this to me. He knows this is going to be bad, right? Because he knew he should have got this change order. I'm kind of looking at him and I'm just like, bro, like, why did you not do this? Like, this is a mess now. And I'm like, call them up and work it out with them. That's what I normally say, right? Go figure it out. He's like, I already have. Like, I'm bringing this to you because I can't do any more with it. Like, okay. So I was kind of sitting there, and it was really funny. It'd be funny if he listens to this because he'd laugh at this now because he still works for me. Like 10 minutes, I'm sitting in my office, and I'm like, this is going to hurt. And this was years ago, right? So I'm like, this is going to hurt, this one, because we weren't making as much money as we do now. And the bro kept on coming to my office. He goes, are you going to fire me? You going to fire me? And I'm like, dude, get out of my office. Like, if you interrupt me one more time while I'm trying to figure out how to make this not hurt as bad, like, yes, I will fire you. Like, get out of here, you know? And I started getting wound up, which I really don't, dude. I'm really even keel. I'm even more even keeled now. This is kind of one of these life lessons, right? And I just get more and more wound up, and I was like, oh, dude, I can't do this. And so I literally left the office and I went and watched Aquaman, right? It's right when Aquaman came out, so however long ago that was. Yeah. I hate that movie because I was just sitting there all pissed, like eating popcorn, and just like, this is bullshit.
Bad memories.
Why the fuck did you do that? You know what I mean? I'm just going crazy. And what ended up happening, so I came back to my office. No, it was either that day or the next day. I can't remember if I took the whole day off. And I don't even know why I was that mad. I needed to think about it, right? And then there was also a process inside the company that was broken, because that's another thing, right? There was a process I had to fix so that can't happen again. And so there was kind of two issues at bay. Anyway, so I ended up calling the president of this company, and they're like the largest builder in Portland for sure, Portland, Oregon. And so they're probably like top 5 between Washington and Oregon. So they're massive, right? Other than Layton here in Utah, I think they're bigger than any other construction company that we have, right? Oh, yeah. And we have been doing business with them for 25 years too. So I called their president, he's kind of like me, he doesn't like take phone calls anymore, right? Like call someone inside the organization. Left him a message. I said, hey, I have a problem on one of your job sites. This is what the problem is. I'm not pushing this on you, but I'd like to discuss some sort of a different conclusion or something like that, right? A way to work this through. He called me back in like 20 minutes. And he's like, hey, I got your message. I talked to the site super. I'm aware of how we feel about this. How do you feel about it? And it was actually a really nice, pleasant conversation, right? And I said, well, this is what's supposed to happen. And this came out. He goes, well, that's not right. This is, we started negotiating it down. So I ended up, I think it was about 180 grand. I negotiated down to 120. Okay. And I said, here's the deal though. I'll take this hit, but I need something from you. And I said, I need you to give me second look going forward for as long as you think we're a good vendor. And what that means is, for people who are listening to this, that means that if our bid's a little bit higher than someone else's, they'll let us look at the bids over and we adjust our price and they end up giving us the contract or whatever, right? We might add some more material or something, right? To make it, it's basically like saying, give me work in the future, right? And he said to me, and some people think that's unethical and some people don't, right? And so it's a very touchy thing to actually even ask for, right? It's kind of bold actually of me to ask for it. And he said, well, I said, he's basically like, you've done good work with us in the past. You've been a good vendor. He goes, I feel like we'll treat you like we've always treated you. Right. And I said, okay, fair enough. If that's what we can agree to, then we'll move on and we'll get this project over with. Right. Dude, I don't think we've ever not gotten a job from them since. Wow. Like every single time. Maybe one or two we've lost because sometimes pricing is just different, right? Yeah. It's like miles apart. But yeah, and so we made that money up. That's that's the moral of the story, right? Is like, even though I didn't really have an overreaction, I wasn't like firing people and kicking shit and, acting like an idiot. But like, I did have to leave the situation to go zen out for a minute, figure out what I wanted to do, come back, regroup. And then even him, like what I said to him, he said it to me again. He's like, am I going to get fired over this? And I said, listen, dude, just do a good job from now on. Just don't ever make this mistake again and I'll eat it. But if you make a mistake like this again, just, you're fired.
It reminds me of that story. I think, was it a U.S. president or something? He was a vet, and they brought him to this air hangar to fly one of his old warplanes. Yeah. And the guy that put the fuel in put in jet fuel when those old warplanes take gasoline, apparently, something like this. Yeah. And so it was this huge thing. Like everyone's there, the cameras are rolling, and the plane is pretty much like ruined.
Right.
So they had to reschedule the whole thing, and this guy obviously is getting chewed out. He's just like wanting to bury himself under a mountain. And I can't remember who the veteran was, but he was some high figure. Yeah, I want to say he was the president. But he comes back, and they reschedule the whole thing. He comes back and he says, "I want that young man to fill my plane." And they're like, "Why?" Like, because I know that he'll do it perfectly now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, you can't have someone who's dumb working for you, right? But if someone makes a mistake, whether it's neglect or not or whatever, right? If they can fix their behavior through that and become a good employee, then yeah, you want to keep them forever.
And you win their loyalty. Yeah. You've shown them kindness and also bringing justice. Teaching them, but still bringing them in close, and now they want to just do good for you.
Yeah, That's true. It really is true. It's kind of fun having employees. I mean, you haven't really hit that world yet, right? Have you had any employees report to you and any of the stuff you've done?
Yeah, but
yeah,
I mean, so I did a signature gathering business for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
It's hard business because it's seasonal.
Yeah.
So you need to recruit a ton of guys really fast, and then once the voting season's done, then you let everyone go, and you got to wait 2 years, 4 years.
Right.
But yeah, we had 200 door knockers under me.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so you know the pain.
Yeah, I was like herding cats. It was crazy.
It's wild too, man, because you want to, especially like someone in my mindset, like you want every employee to feel like they have access to you, because they do, right? Like, but at the same time, it's like you just can't, you can only manage so many relationships, especially if they're all needy, right? I know some of these like door knocking guys, right? Like what you were talking about.
Yeah.
They'll get teams of like 30 guys.
Very different though, because mine was just such a short relationship. You have relationships that's gone for years, their families,
True. Yeah. Yeah, when COVID hit, man, at the first part of it, I was like, this is really stupid. Meaning like the first month, this is freaking stupid. And then like when the world really wasn't like kicking back on, I really started feeling the weight of like, oh, dude, like, what if general contractors stop paying me? What if I can't pay my guys? I keep a decent amount of cash in the business so I could run for a while, probably a year without actually taking payments in. But then it's like, well, what the hell? Well, these guys all have families, they've got wives and kids and, like their lives depend on this. And how's this going to look on the backside? And I started to kind of actually gain a little bit of weight over it. I was like, shit, this is going to be, I don't want to have that meeting where I go, hey guys, we have no money left. You know what I mean? I love you to death. And, nothing I want worse than this, but like, if you run out of cash, you run out of cash. It's just kind of over. So
that has to be some big motivation too. With what you do, knowing that you're keeping guys being able to put food on their families' tables.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Plus, there's even pressure just to make sure they like their job. I'm not in tech, right? So I don't have like a video game room or like, all that shit. But it's funny though, because most of the people that work for me, they hate that crap. They're like, no, Mark, I want to come to work. I want to get my work done. I want to go home with my family. Like that's the dudes that jive in my world, or the guys who are just like, I mean, everyone likes a gift, right? If I buy custom Jordans for everybody or, something like that, or like corporate swag, like they love that. Yeah. But like really, I try and compensate people in my world. I try and compensate them well to the market or even higher than the market. And then they can go out and just go spend time with their family. Like we only work 4 days a week. So I want my guys on Friday not working. I don't want them there. I want them home with their families, having a 3-day weekend. Cause then that's the benefit of working for me is it's like, yeah, man, I've got a pretty flexible schedule. I only work 4 days a week. I've always got 3 days off. I can take unlimited time off. I can, as long as I get my job done, like, because we're still small business, we're not corporate where it's like, give you stock every year.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So I was talking with Eric the other day, and I called him because I was having just a really down day.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to talk. And so I vented a little bit and just told him how I was feeling. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, he's like, hey, can I share a little win with you? I was like, dude, yes, please. Tell me. And he tells me what's going on with Leighton Construction and just some of the wins that he's been racking up over there. And it was starting to just make me feel so good after my shitty day. And he paused and he's like, I feel like I'm bragging. I was like, dude, no, because your win is our win. Like I this is filling my cup right now. Just hearing that something awesome happened for you. And I feel the same way with you. And I feel like going back to our friend group, I feel like everyone is like that, where you see your buddy doing well, you see him like get a little win here and there, and you're just, it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
There's no jealousy. There's no like, oh, he wins, now I feel shitty about my life.
Right.
Oh, he wins, now I feel stoked. Now I want to go out and I feel just energized for him, and that's it.
Well, that mindset's so crazy important. Like I've had friends in the past that when good things happen to other people, they're like, oh, their dad's rich. Oh, well, they got lucky with that, And it's like, bro, that attitude is bad for you.
Yeah, just the hater mentality. Yeah. You see it a lot online. Like people just wanting to hate on people for no reason, just because something good happened in their life.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Plus, Plus, social media, man, it's like you're getting highlights, bro. Like there's some dark moments in a lot of those wins.
Absolutely.
My brother and I used to joke all the time. We still do, I guess, but he owns a marketing company, right? Online marketing company. And we always laughed at like colleges that were trying to like put a program together for like online marketing. It's like, dude, by the time this thing's freaking over,
outdated.
You know what I mean? You're outdated 18 months later. It takes like 5 years to get a damn program approved. You know what I mean? Right. It's like worthless. And I think about that too with people because we joke with the same vein, right? It's like, yeah, man, I got real lucky today. 41 years old, I got hella lucky. It only took me 20 years to build this shit up. To build myself up, to build my knowledge base up, to build my relationships up, to be able to sit at the head of a company, even run the damn thing. Mm-hmm. I think I've met people in my life where they think being a CEO is just like this cush freaking job. And it is, right? But the reason why it's cush is because you're basically making 4 or 5 decisions a day that really drive that company. Yeah. You also set kind of the vision for the company and there's some pressure in that, right? There's some real pressure, right? It's really easy to sit in a group think and just be like, well, that person should do this and we should do that and we blah, blah, blah. That's a different thing to sit at the top and be driving the ship and being like, okay, we're going left.
Yeah.
And then you got 4 people down there.
Whatever happens that doesn't work out is on you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we might be ending right in a minute, but but at the same time, you might have 4 people in the organization be like, you're stupid. And 8 people will be like, yeah, you're right. And you're like, hey, the guys that are right, are they just saying I'm right? You know what I mean?
Right.
How many of these guys actually think I'm moving this thing in the right direction, And then when you do move in the right direction, they call you a leader,
Or everyone says, I don't know about this direction.
Yeah.
And you got to have the strength to be like, no, trust me. This is what we're doing. This is where we're going.
Yeah.
Get on board.
Yeah.
And then it works out.
I think the key to not having turnover, right, is to have your leader in the company, have everyone buy into the leader. That's how you don't have turnover. Because really you can solve a lot of problems for people, Like people, they care about money to a certain extent. They just need to be taken care of, right? But they want to be in a company that's like moving in the right direction. They feel like they're part of it, And that's why some of these companies, even if you make a ton of money, right? I know guys that do like summer sales, right? But the guys that own their company are like insane. You know what I mean? They're always doing crazy shit and blowing money, getting in trouble here, getting loans. And it just creates this, this unstable work environment. Yeah. Where, it's more just like me, right? I drive a big truck because it's comfortable. I don't barely tow shit with it, but I just like to sit up high. That's why I have a big truck. And it's like, that's just me, man. I just go do my thing and go spend time with my friends and family. And
is there a sports car you'd be comfortable in?
No.
Physically?
Maybe a Porsche. There's a couple Porsches I might fit into, but I don't know. I have this thing with Lamborghinis, right? Like dudes that drive Lamborghinis. And I'm always like, there's most of the dudes are faking it. And then the guys that are so wealthy that they can afford a Lamborghini, they're like, don't buy them. Yeah. Because they're like a terrible investment. And where are you going to drive that damn thing to? You know what I mean? And so it's like this little inside joke. And by the way, all my friends that have Lamborghinis, good for you. You know what I mean? I'm not like hating on your Lamborghini or anything, but
I think it's one of those things. If it's been a goal, do it.
I say the same thing. Yeah,
it's such a fun thing, and it's kind of like the Rolex watch. Just it doesn't tell time better than other watches, but there is something about it that inside you feel like you reached this goal.
Yeah, so that's the one thing that I would champion the hell out of, right? Like if you did a vision board 8 years ago, and that was like this house, this life, and that life included me getting the car I had a poster of my whole life, right? Like, okay, go do it. Yeah. And then in 6 months you'll sell it. But at least you did it, right?
And in that sense, you could say, yeah, that's worth the investment.
Yeah.
Because this is helping me continue to visualize and achieve and go for other things.
Yeah. See, I just always look at them, dude, and I'm like, dude, this thing was $500,000. Like if I have $500,000 invested into something,
right, that's where
appreciating versus like a depreciating asset, I'm like, that's where my mind goes every single time. Yeah. Same with boats. I was going to buy this really expensive boat, and I was like, screw this shit. Freaking $300,000 for a boat? This is insane.
Yeah. So I drive a 2017 F-150.
Yeah.
I was kind of embarrassed buying it. I just needed a work truck because my uncle, so my mom's side of the family runs billboards in Oregon, and they do commercial real estate, so apartments and strip malls. That's their thing. And my uncle is the CEO of the company. My grandpa passed away 4 years ago, and my uncle took over. He drives a 2009 Toyota Tundra, and it's beat the shit.
Yeah.
And like very successful business, but just very low key.
Yeah.
My other uncle drives a BMW and it's really nice, but this uncle, like I always look at him like, yeah, he doesn't need to like, different people are just different strokes for different folks. Yeah. And I think it's all okay. It's okay if you want to get the Lambo. It's okay if you want to drive the 2009 Toyota Tundra and you're a multi-millionaire. Like, but
well, the thing is too, is that guy, he just values different stuff, right?
Yeah.
See, my thing is I do not skimp when I vacation, right? Like we're going first class. We're going to go stay in nice hotels. Like I'm just not, that's where I blow my money on, you know? But yeah, I mean, even with cars are such an interesting thing, right? Because there's such an emotional attachment to cars, you know? I don't know. They just kind of make me laugh. What's your dream car? If you were to have one right now?
Oh,
you can say Lamborghini. Don't make me.
No. My dream car would be like the old Defender, the Range Rover Defender. I think that'd be fun, or the old Bronco. Actually, the old Defender. Yeah. Just an old one with nice off-road wheels.
Dude, I've been looking at 1996 Bronco. So last year they did the old body Bronco, and I'm trying to find one. I'm trying to decide if I want to go white or paint it or something like that. But I want to like put a massive lift on it. I want to. Here's what I'm actually trying to find. I found a bunch of these. They're pretty cheap. They're like $20,000 basically, right? I want to rip the entire dash out.
The old Broncos are?
Yeah, the old Broncos are. Yeah,
running and everything.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I thought there'd be more.
No, they've got tons of miles on them, dude. Like some of these have like 180,000 miles, 150,000 miles.
Can you put those on a different axle? Like, could you put it on like a Jeep axle or something like that?
I have no idea.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Something to look into. That way you have a new engine.
Dude, I know nothing about cars. It's like one of the funniest things ever, right? Because I own a bunch of trucks, right, for work and all this kind of stuff. And I'll tell you a funny story. So I was with my dad, who's like Consumer Reports, memorizes them, like loves to give sales guys a hell of a time, right? Because he knows more than them, like all this kind of shit. And we go to buy me a truck a couple of years ago. And, I buy them all through the company, right? Because, they're all tax write-off and all that kind of stuff. So I'm there with my brother, who's also a freaking, car nut. And this guy walks up to me and I go, hey, listen to me, kid. He's like, no, 25. I go, I want the nicest truck you have, but I don't give a shit about the motor. I want it to be the best riding and have the best technological package. That's all I care about, right? He goes, okay, then my dad starts talking. What about this engine and this engine? Starts yapping. So we're sitting there. He goes, grabs, a pair of keys. He's like, come out to this one, right? This is the Ford dealership. We go sit in this Ford. I'm in this thing, and Fords are kind of traditionally, which I drive a Ford now. Traditionally, they're a little like kind of rental car-y, like plastic knobs and all this kind of stuff in there. And I'm sitting in this thing, and he's talking about the engine and the tow package and all this shit, right? And I'm like, dude, this is the nicest truck you have. Like, I feel like I'm in a rental car. Like, there's no way I'd buy this thing. And he looks at me and he's like, well, no, man. I mean, we have a Platinum with a blah, 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 blah. It's got like leather and like a bigger screen. And I was like, did you not hear what I said?
Then show me that one.
Like, that is what I want to see. And I mean, I get out of the car, right? And I close the doors and he's like, do you want me to get out the keys? And I was like, yeah, chop. He goes like sprinted up there and I turned to my dad and brother. I'm like, stop talking to this guy about engines. He gives a shit about an engine. I don't care about an engine. It was kind of funny. So we go sit in this Platinum or whatever. I ended up buying a GMC, but
that's hilarious.
It was just so funny, man, just being like, because I do not care what the 454 blah, blah, blah. I sound like a hick. You know what I mean? I just don't care about that stuff. But
just comfortable.
In fact, I was going to say, here's another funny story. I go to the DMV the other day and I'm registering my boat in the trailer, right? I bought it like a year and a half ago, right? So it's finally ran out enough. I got to get like the registration. And I'm sitting there with this guy and I think he was gay, or at least he was giving me the vibes, right? And
giving you the vibe, like flirting?
Yeah, well, no, just like you're kind of talking all camp, he's presenting that way, I should say. The new term.
Well, wasn't hiding it. Yeah,
it wasn't hiding. He's kind of like a happy, right? And me and gay guys vibe pretty well, right?
Same.
I love joking with him, dude.
Same.
Yeah. I tell him I'm a bear and all that kind of stuff.
yeah. I know that terminology. One of my close friends from BYU ran track, and he always had a girlfriend, but was very femme. Yeah. And finally came out to me like 5 years ago, and I was like, yeah. Thanks for telling me. Yeah. But we've been boys since college. Yeah. So we still like just talk like we're homies. Yeah. But then he starts talking about his dating, like we'll talk about our dating lives. Now his dating life convo is about like these guys he's seeing. I'm like, oh, that's cool, dude. Like, nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I learned the bear and wolf terminology.
We're gonna have people look at these terms up and pause the podcast.
Yeah.
So I go in to talk to this guy, right? And I like hand him all this stuff, and I'm like, hey, I got to register this stuff, and he goes, okay. He goes, what kind of trailer is it? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know, whatever. And he's like, well, what's the brand? And I'm like, just whatever it says on here, man, I have no idea. He's kind of like question me. And he's supposed to, right?
Yeah.
So then he goes to the boat and he's like, what year is this? And I tell him, and he goes, well, what size engine is it in there? And I go, hey, you listen up, man. One more of those questions and someone's going to walk in here and pull my man card because I have no damn idea what kind of engine in there. And he goes,
expose me like this?
Yeah. And he looks at me and he goes, they pulled my man card years ago. And I was like, oh, okay. I got you, bro. But I'm like, dude, I do not know that stuff. I freaking don't. Like, I kind of have this thing. I also don't learn medical terms. That's why I like to tease Nick all the time.
For me, it's athletes. I'm not great with names.
Oh, really?
Like athletes and actors and directors and I know like the top guys, but everyone else is like naming random actors in different shows and movies. I'm like, did you study the cast sheet? Like, dude.
See, and I figured there's only so much room in my brain for stuff.
That's why
I chose these things. I didn't choose the medical field. I didn't choose anything about a car. Guys are always like, oh, my Metatorcus, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I don't know, bro.
See, that's something I do actually know when I did medical sales. So that was.
Oh, did you learn all this stuff?
Yeah, that was fun stuff. Yeah.
Well, and you build your body all the time, and did you ever do personal training? You did, right? Yeah.
I never did personal training. I liked the classes, and that was just kind of searching for what I was missing from football. I like that team aspect. The camaraderie was something that I really missed. So I wanted to combine fitness, the camaraderie. Personal training seemed like something that I could always go to if I needed to.
Yeah.
But the class aspect was a lot more fun for me.
That makes sense.
Like building that community.
Because like when we did McHenry's thing, right? That one morning.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I think I made those classes too hard.
It was all right.
I think in my mind, I was like, I need to make these like just crazy workouts. Now my philosophy around fitness and training is always evolving.
Yeah.
And it kind of follows with what I believe in, like what I should do for myself.
Yeah.
And at that time I was like, high intensity is the way to go. Like it needs to just be like all out. You need to feel like you're going to die after. Yeah. And now I don't believe in that anymore. Now it's like, let's just get a great workout. I still like getting some muscle soreness, but I don't want to go so hard to where tomorrow or the next day, I still don't want to do anything because I'm so sore. So now I've dialed it back, but yeah, I feel like I might've hurt you guys a little bit and I apologize.
I like that one. No, I didn't think it was bad at all.
Okay.
But the reason why I like those classes is because you guys make us do things that I'm never going to do, right? Like I'm never going to grab a damn sledgehammer and pretend I'm rowing a boat while my legs are up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whatever the hell we were doing.
Right. Yeah.
Well, like air squats and I can't remember all this. We did rope out there. We did all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, battle ropes. We had the sledgehammers out with the tires as well, or was it just? Were we just doing?
I don't think we had tires. You had bags that we were like doing like dead man carries with.
Okay, it must have been the other time, but yeah, we had the sandbags out there. I did some hill runs.
Dude, honestly, fitness for me, dude, is just like turn on music that I like that bumps a little bit, like 90s hip hop or something, right? And then just
that's the best. That's my go-to.
Hang out with your friends and like just do hard shit.
I much more prefer working out with somebody.
Yeah.
If I'm by myself, I start going to like places in my mind. If I'm having a bad day and working out by myself, then I'm like, oh man, it's like I'm chasing a high. Like one more set and maybe I'll feel better.
Right.
That's where my mind's at. But when I'm away, that's so crazy.
That's not a bad way to do it.
But it gets me through workouts. But when I'm with somebody, then I'm just like really enjoying it. We're building off each other. We're encouraging each other, just like gassing everybody up. But that's way more enjoyable for me.
So let's talk about your TikTok account and social media, because that's kind of where you're flying down the road on, right?
Yeah, I mean, my my TikTok, it blew up from that one video of my tattoo.
Yeah.
I got this traditional Samoan tattoo over a year ago. A very spiritual experience. We had a Samoan tufunga fly in to Utah so all our families could be part of it. And there's a big group of us that got it done together. And so I just made a little video of that with some trending sound and it just exploded. So it got like 20 million views in maybe a month.
Yeah.
And from there, I didn't even know what I was doing. I talked to a few of my buddies who have big TikTok followings. I talked to Jimmy Rex. I was like, I don't want to be like the tattoo guy, like the Samoan culture guy, even though that is something very near and dear to my heart. I just want to be me because I'm not from Samoa. I love my culture, but my culture is also Hawaii and now Utah. Yeah. So like, I don't want to pretend to be something that I'm not. So, but I'm all these different flavors. My mom is Ukrainian Jewish. My dad is Samoan. I grew up in Hawaii. I live in Utah. Like, this is me. Yeah. I didn't want to be this, like, I'm just this Polynesian warrior dude. Yeah. Because that's fake. And Jimmy was like, well, just like be you. And then just whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. Just keep, you don't need to be the tattoo guy forever. You can be the fitness guy later on your social media, but show more of that experience because that's what people are interested in. So I did that for a little bit and then would show some fitness videos and then started being able to show more of my personality and just being like this nerd that I am. And so people started seeing that. But my cousin has a TikTok account. This is hilarious. And he's huge. He's like not huge. I mean, he's like 600,000 on TikTok and 100,000 on Instagram. And I asked him what he was doing to grow it because I wanted to start growing mine for fitness. I want to start, going from these workout classes that I was doing and go more online. And this is before I posted that tattoo video. I was like, dude, so what's been the thing that's helped you grow? And he's like, honestly, bro, I've just been doing like this pretty boy thirst trap thing. I was like, I started dying. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I am a model. I can lean into that a little bit. But I also didn't want to be the thirst trap guy either. Yeah. So, but that is a part of our human experience, so, and it's just fun. It's funny. So I put stuff like that out there a little bit, but nothing too cringy, I hope. And if it is too cringy, then
you're going to have to hit some cringy stuff. It's just
TikTok is just cringe. Right? Yeah, that's just the name of the game. I feel like it's just
I did a dance on some chicks one time with her, dude. And I was like, the funny thing with me, I actually don't give a shit if I look terrible generally, right? Like if I'm dancing or something like that, right? I'll just do whatever,
Well, I enjoy laughing at myself. Yeah. I'll watch my videos and it's making me cringe and I'm just cracking up like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
But let's back up to your tattoo for a second because I think one of the reasons why it's so interesting, you're the first person I've ever actually seen to have that traditional tattoo. Now that I've seen it on you though, right? Like I've seen it, it's not common obviously, right? But I've seen more of it and I was like, oh, right. Because I don't think people realize, I think if like, the normal white guy in Utah is going to look at your tattoo and be like, oh, that's cool. He got a tattoo. Like they don't really realize what it is.
Right. And that's usually the responses that I've gotten around here is they'll see this on my legs and say, oh, my buddy has that too on his arm. But that's not the case. I remember seeing old men with this tattoo when I was growing up. And that was the first time I thought I want to do that someday like that. Yeah. I just felt something. I can't believe someone would do that to their body. What would possess someone to be that convicted to something and that, tied to something to do this to themselves? So yeah, this is known as a malofie. That's like the respectful term, or tatau. That's where the word tattoo comes from. The nickname is Pe'a, which is the flying fox of Samoa. It's a bat. And this has been around for thousands of years. I mean, there's so much meaning behind it. For instance, the wearer of this is actually the servant. And the idea is when you get this put on your body, you are committing to serve your family, serve your village, know all the protocols, and fulfill all your responsibilities. Now that it's evolved since then. I mean, obviously, the way that it served the culture back then is very different than the world that we live in today. And so there were people when I got this, and I knew this going into it, that there would be other Samoans that would say, he doesn't deserve to have this because he, is not fluent in Samoan and doesn't live in Samoan and doesn't know all those protocols of the culture. Yeah. In my mind, if you're Samoan, you're Samoan. And our ancestors, the things that they did back then, the old ways, were once new ways. And so now we are still Samoan, but we live in this modern world with technology where I'm posting this on a cell phone. You're looking at it on your cell phone on the internet with the satellite, So yes, this is a different time, but the purpose of the tattoo is still very much present.
Yeah.
Am I serving my family? Am I trying my hardest to be a servant leader and to better myself and to fill my responsibilities, my roles in today's world? That's my take on it.
Yeah. So on the design of it, does the tattoo artist come up with it, or is it like the same? It's not the same for everybody, obviously, right?
So the design of the tattoo is essentially the same for everybody.
Oh, is it? Okay.
There are different puzzle pieces, but everyone is going to have this strap, the ossos that come up around the hips, and then the va is the canoe. That's the top piece on the back. Now,
so like on your knees right there, you kind of have like those two little leaves. Like, what does that mean right there? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of the meanings I feel like have probably been lost over the years of what they were. People have assigned meanings to them now. But yeah, the little intricacies, it's said that these are things that the first chief who got this tattoo, these are things that he saw in his environment. So birds, the centipede, trees. Yeah. But, in terms for what the tattoo artist will give us, he's called a tufunga. It's the master craftsman. What he puts on your body it's like a patriarchal blessing in Mormonism.
Right.
Whatever he gives you is what you get.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I'm gonna ask you some crazy questions. Like, how much does it cost to do that?
So ticket price is $7,000.
Yeah.
Traditionally, it used to be fine mats. That was the payment. So the son of a chief or whoever could afford it would go to the tufunga he'd be wrapped in these fine mats.
Yeah.
And that was considered the payment. And
Gotcha.
then they would get it done. Today, tufunga artists will put about $7,000 on it. I think it's probably gone up since then, but in terms of tattoos, that's not much. Like I know buddies with a sleeve, and they are paying more than that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because with the culture, you're not required to, but it's kind of an expectation that you also provide gifts for the tufunga after the ceremony is done, and that will add up to thousands and thousands of dollars as well. Yeah. So this ticket price $7,000 for me, but then there were so many other gifts that were included after.
And they tap it on, right?
All hand tapped, and it's such a cool experience. It was so spiritual because if you were to tap ink into skin, it would stab you and it would catch. It gets stuck in the skin. Yeah. So they have stretchers called kosos. So you always have at least two other people and the tufunga artist around you at one time when you're laying on the mat. Oh. And they're stretching your skin tight like a drum so that when they tap the ink into you, it'll bounce off you and come back out. Oh. Because if it's not tight enough, it's just going to stick.
Yeah, just go, okay.
So, but the idea of it, I mean, think about someone laying on the ground. He's encircled by other men who oftentimes also have this tattoo. They're laying their hands on you, and it's death by 1,000 cuts. So you're kind of going through this almost spiritual experience, and then you have your friends and family on the peripheral praying for you and singing songs and just wishing you well. It was such a special. It was one of the most spiritual experiences I ever had in my life, and the most bonding experience I ever had with my father.
Yeah,
he flew out from Hawaii, and he told me this was his favorite trip he's ever made out here. He's come to some of my football games. He didn't really care for my football career. He just liked that there was something that made me work hard, that I was invested in. But that experience for us was so bonding and so powerful because when my dad came from Samoa, he thought that he needed to leave his Samoan culture behind and adapt as fast as possible to American culture, to Western culture. And he didn't speak Samoan to us in the home because why would we need to speak Samoan out here? That wouldn't help us. We need to speak English, and we need to speak it well if we want to survive and thrive in this new land. And so then fast forward to his youngest son now doing something that was like reaching back towards his roots as well. I kind of feel like something shifted in his mind, like this understanding of like, not only is it okay that I came from this little island, but I'm proud of that and love that part of me.
Yeah.
I think for a long time he was not embarrassed, not shying from it, but just didn't think that there was anything that could offer us here.
Right.
And now seeing that his culture was blessing us in such a profound way in this modern world was really meaningful to him.
Did your mom like it?
My mom loved it.
Okay.
And I actually, my mom and dad are so different. My mom is from California, rich family, you know, they have that billboard business and Jewish and very different from my father, but she had taught school in Samoa. And so she had like just an appreciation for the culture. And watching their relationship growing up and seeing them now, I've learned that you can be very different people and come from two very different walks of life. But if you just have like some admiration for each other, you can get through a lot of things. Because my dad thinks my mom is just like the dopest chick ever. And my mom thinks my dad is just the best man she could have ever met in her life. And so they have this, even though they're complete different walks of life, they have this admiration for each other that has kept them together.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. I like that a lot. So then the tattoo takes days, right?
This took me 2 weeks, and
2 weeks. Holy crap!
I've heard it done over a year. They'll space it up. You could get it done in a week, I guess, if you really wanted to just go for it. You always get it done with a partner called your soa. So my soa was my brother-in-law, and he's actually Tongan. And this is a Samoan tattoo, and the Tongan tattoo culture was lost for a long time when Christianity came to the islands. A lot of things were lost. Hula was banned in Hawaii when Christianity got there because it was considered pagan.
Yeah.
And so people had to do hula in private. Now
it's a little sexy.
Yeah. Now it's people were doing it topless. Like that must be evil, but that was how they worshiped. But so Tongan culture lost the art of tattooing, and there has been a revival going on for the last maybe 20 years. And so my brother-in-law is Tongan, and he got his done with me. And the idea is when you need a rest and you're just totally fatigued and out, then your soa, your partner, will come in and tap in for you.
Oh, okay.
So now he's getting pain and you're resting. And then when he's tapped out, then you go in. So another cool aspect of the whole thing that just like makes everyone feel so together.
Bond you.
Absolutely.
I know you invited Nick to come watch part of it, and I can't even tell you how special he thought that was.
And I'm gonna get emotional just thinking about that when they walked in. So Nick and Eric walked in. You're just going through excruciating pain, and it feels like it's never going to end. And they're just blowing your kneecaps out. Just tapping. It's this crazy, crazy feeling. I was almost hallucinating sometimes, just passing out here and there. And Nick and Eric walk in, and it was just this feeling. All of a sudden, the pain stopped, just went down. So I felt like, oh, my brothers are here. And Nick and I have talked about that a lot since then, of other moments in life when you're just going through hell, and just knowing that your boy is there, or your loved one is there with you. Yeah. That can just change your whole outlook. Yeah. It's not feeling alone in your misery,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a cool experience, right? It's just saying yes to stuff, right? I mean, anyone can be like too busy to go do something, Yeah. I'm sure it was probably a nonchalant, hey, you guys want to come check this out? And they showed up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that's so true. You don't even need to do much for somebody, but just knowing that you're present, and you understand you can see what they're going through. Yeah. Just being seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on TikTok, when you posted that, what were the comments like? What were people saying?
Lots, man. I didn't expect it to blow up like that. So we had, there were Samoans commenting from all over the world, from Australia, New Zealand, Samoa, here in the States. Mostly positive feedback. Everyone's just like, wow, like, thank you for showing our culture. So many people from other cultures that, although they didn't know anything about it, this was their first time ever seeing something like this. They felt something, and that I can relate to, because it's like an opera song. You don't understand what they're saying, but it hits you, and you don't need to know the words, because you're feeling something about that culture. I mean, I feel that with different things in various cultures that I'll see. So that was really cool because a lot of the comments were like, this is making me want to get more in touch with my culture as well. You know, I'm Danish, or I'm, you know, Native American, or, and then there were a few people there. And this was expected. There were a few Samoans who were upset that I had got this done. And there was one person that made a video saying that I was a plastic Samoan, you know, a fake Samoan, and that everyone in that room were plastics. And I made a response video to that. I wasn't going to respond to that just because I was like, you know, haters are going to hate. It's not even it's not even worth energy. But then I realized, like, this is such a good opportunity to speak on this topic of gatekeeping of someone's culture, or for anything, because, like, what better way to keep people from appreciating your culture that you love than by, like, calling them out if they try to be part of it, you know? Yeah. And so for me, growing up half Samoan and half white, there was always this feeling that I wasn't Samoan enough. And then in my circles, I never felt less than, actually. But in my own mind, in Samoan circles, I had this feeling like I needed to prove that I was Samoan. And that drove me a lot in sports. Like, I needed to be this warrior and this athletic, like, protege to show that I belonged. And so I responded to this video, was very calm about it, but just talked about that experience and how much I love this side of me and how it was so important for me to tap into something bigger than myself. I think after I left religion, I was missing that. I was craving to have a cause and something that I believed in. And this represents everything that I believe in: family, connection, and love, just the things that in life that bring me joy. In fact, did you hear that? Heard that? I think it was a Harvard study, longest running study in history. They took 100 kids coming home from World War II and 100 kids in the Bronx, and they just followed them for years. They'd check up on them every single year. They didn't know what they were studying exactly, but a lot of these guys made fortunes. Some lost them, some got cancer and other diseases, and some died, some got married and had kids, and just in any direction you could imagine human life going. Yeah. And what they found towards the end of this study is still going, but after like 60 years of it, they found that it didn't matter what their blood cholesterol was, or if they were single or married or had millions in the bank or not. The ones who lived the longest and reported the highest levels of satisfaction were the ones that had the best relationships. And it wasn't about quantity either. It was just, they could have just a few good friends, but if they knew that the people around them had their back and loved them, those guys ended up just living a little longer and reported a higher level of life satisfaction.
Oh, I like that.
And that's what this represents for me, is what is most important to me: cultivating those relationships and making sure I show up for those people that I love and that are close to me, and being that servant.
Yeah. So you're moving to Hawaii on Monday. So we're like 3 days away, right?
Yeah, man. Coming up fast.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh. Well, sorry. Monday going to LA first. I have a shoot out there. And then from LA going to Hawaii.
Start your journey.
Yeah.
Still though, but you're heading back to kind of get grounded, go back to your roots, and kind of what are you going out there for? Like what's your goals?
I wanted to just get grounded. I felt like I needed to get out of Utah. I was ready for a change. Hawaii will be just a time for me to focus on not healing, because I don't feel like I'm broken, but just getting more still. I think that's what it is. Yeah. And I want to continue building my social media. I think that'll be a great place to make content. And then I'll just be training and hitting casting auditions out there.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
So you're going to take your acting to the next level? Is that kind of one of your goals?
That's the goal. Yeah. Earlier this year, I was talking to some close friends, and like my goal this year is to get cast in something. That's like my big hairy beast.
Yeah.
I want to go after.
Big scary goal.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. So to do that, what do you have to do? Just go to audition after audition after audition? Do you take acting classes or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I've taken some acting classes. I got an agency in LA, and then I'll get one in Hawaii as well. Yeah. And they're setting me up with acting classes as well. So we'll keep doing that and just keep hitting auditions, and just see what happens. Yeah. And I got to keep training. I think, honestly, I don't think that I know I'm not a great actor. I'm learning. I think I can be decent, but I'll do better by getting my physique better. I mean, this is just a tool. Yeah. So getting my physique more on point and looking better for the camera, and that'll help me in modeling as well. So that's kind of like because I'm in fitness modeling and want to get into acting, it just kind of works well together. So that'll be Hawaii too. Honestly, Hawaii will be a lot of just training really, really hard. And I'm close to the Rock stunt double. His name is Tanawai Reed. Yeah, he lives like 4 minutes from where I'll be living, and he has a little gym in his place. So I hit him up and see if I can just start training with him.
Yeah, why not? That'll be fun. The Rock has done fantastic. Is he Samoan?
Rock is Samoan.
Yeah.
Half Samoan, half black.
One of my friends lived next door to his dad out in Florida until he passed away a year or two ago.
Oh, no way.
And so, I mean, I've never met The Rock or Dwayne or anything like that, but like his dad, I think his dad named Rocky.
Yep.
I think, yeah. Rocky I guess he was a really beloved dude in the neighborhood and a really, really good dude. Yeah. But The Rock's done amazing, man. I mean, he went after it. The best thing he ever did was make Terramana.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to make him so much money.
Yeah, having a liquor brand is insane.
Yeah. It's all him too.
Is that really?
You know? Oh yeah, it's just Terramana sells because of him.
Oh yeah.
People love it. Yeah.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw Jason Momoa just did a vodka line as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. That's the way. If you're that big, like you absolutely should start a tequila brand or vodka.
You should. Whiskey. Yeah. All that. I mean, I have the spirits company, right? Like that's all marketing.
Yeah.
All that stuff,
Absolutely.
And it's good for people too. It's a good thing for people to add to their brand. I mean, you're doing this right now. You're building your personal brand. You're building online. Between the modeling and acting and stuff you can do online. Like there's endorsements and sponsorships and all that stuff. I mean, it's all alcohol fits really well inside that portfolio. Yeah.
So funny story. My uncle is invested in a tequila brand and wants me to start being like an influencer for them and they'll start paying me. But he called me the other day and was like, "Hey, I have this great idea. We can do like our tequila versus the Rocks. I'm like, have you and the Rock on this thing together." And I'm like, who are we talking to right now? Thank you for thinking that highly of me, Uncle Mike. That was so funny.
I was gonna say, if you could pull that off with the Rock, that would be insane for you guys.
It cracked me up that he was like, "Yeah, this is a possibility." Yeah. My nephew Michael, he's the man, and the Rock. We'll get him in the same room, get a camera rolling.
Yeah. I love it, dude. Yeah, just say yes.
That's family though, right? Family they just think you're the best.
Yeah,
that's so good.
Yeah. That'd be cool, man.
Thank you.
So, dude, we've knocked out like an hour and a half.
Oh, no way.
Can you believe that?
Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
So tell me, dude. So I make most people give me like their best 2 minutes of advice at the end. So like all the stuff you kind of been through, like I kind of want like your perception on life. Like what's the best parts about life? How would you advise somebody? If someone was 16 and said, how should I live my life, Michael? What would you say to him?
My happiness comes from my relationships, family, close friends. I spent a lot of time with a lot of friends that I did not feel close with, and that left me feeling empty and anxious and sad. And then I shrunk my circle down. Now I just have a few close friends who I get very real with and love very, very much, and I feel their love as well. And that gives me so much fulfillment and courage and more strength to go out and fight battles and fight the day, one day at a time. and it's so reversed. You know, you think that you get a ton of people liking you and that'll just make you feel great, but that's not the case. I just want a few people who love me and that I love.
Yeah.
So that has been for me one of the best learning lessons that I've learned in life is have my circle and take care of those people and cultivate those relationships with love and vulnerability and honesty.
Yeah.
And you'll be good.
No, thank you, dude. I agree with you 100%. I think when people really define what success looks like for them, like relationships is the vast majority of that pie chart. 'Cause that's where we get our joy, right? Your happiness, your strength, your, I don't know, just contentment almost, right? Because you know you got your boys on your side and you know all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, awesome, dude.
Well, thank you.
Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. I'm honored.
I'm honored. I was honored when you asked me. I was like, oh, me?
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Of course, dude. Of course, dude. Anyone that I like, I'm going to bring on here. So
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for listening to the President McCormack Podcast, brought to you by McCormack Foundation, Saxton Fund, ADP Lemco, and Professional Floor Systems. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and keep up with Mark on Instagram @President McCormack.